Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the free astrotheology course. All right, our textbook is The Devil's Pulpit by the Reverend Robert Taylor. Okay, so this is by Robert Taylor. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video. All right, there's also other links to free PDFs. There are links to my classes, streaming, and Zoom, so live on Zoom. You'll see the links there. The live class on Zoom is Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturday morning, Eastern Standard Time at 10 o'clock, all right? Also, you'll find links to many of the Ancient Ibaryath books that I have written and published. So I ask that if you do purchase any of my books, that you purchase them, buy them on zionlawschool.org, zionlawschool.org. Okay, don't buy them on Amazon and on the other online booksellers because they charge too much money. Okay, they take way too much money. It's not even worth it actually to sell on Amazon and those type of sites. All right, but if for some reason you feel that you need to buy it on Amazon, go ahead and do so. But if at all possible, buy my books on our website, which is zionlawschool.org. So thanks everyone who has supported my project to write the Book of the Law in modern English and Ancient Ibaryath. So much thanks to you and appreciation. Also to those who are buying my books, thank you. And those who have registered for 506 The Curses course, and those who are subscribing and already subscribed to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course, which is our streaming course. Okay, so that said, let's get in. Oh, one more thing. We have two supplementary books, or supplemental books. The Diegesis, okay, the author is still Robert Taylor, and then also Ptolemy's Tetrabiblios. Ptolemy's Tetrabiblios, of course, that's by Ptolemy. All right, so these are two great works. The Tetrabiblios, of course, is one of the, or if not the major work in terms of antiquity on astrology that's available to us. And of course, the Diegesis contains a wealth of information. In fact, the Devil's Pulpit, the Devil's Pulpit gets its information from the Diegesis, all right? Anyway, let's continue. So we're going to go back to part 2, which is of raising the devil, part 2 of raising the devil. Now, it's not some evil, wicked spirit being or spirit person like you have been taught in Christianity. There's no such being as Satan the devil. It's imaginary. Okay, so when the author says raising the devil, the title of the book, what he's actually meaning is that he's giving you the devil's true character, which has been hidden in the Gospels. The devil is presented as an evil, wicked being in the Gospels. That is not the case in the Old Testament, where the devil is said to be a prosecutor. Okay, a prosecutor in the court of God, or in the court of the deity, whatever your doctrine is. Okay, so the author brings to our attention that the devil is never spoken of in a very negative way, except for what does Jesus say? Jesus calls him what? Calls the devil a liar and the father of the lie. Okay? So you can go through this by reviewing Raising the Devil Part 1 and Part 2. But the author makes a strong case, in my opinion, showing that the character of the devil has been misrepresented to you. All right? But I'm not going to go over all of that. You have to either watch these videos again or read it yourself. All right? But to read it, you need a very, very high reading comprehension skill level, okay? Now let's turn over to page 84. Page 84. All right? Let's begin our review. The devil takes Christ up to a very high mountain, an exceedingly high mountain. That exceedingly high mountain, astrologically, is none other than the summer solstice, when the sun reaches its highest point in the northern part of space. It cannot go higher. Okay? So what zodiac sign is that? That's Cancer, the crab. So which apostle is crabby? Which apostle is Cancer? It's the apostle Thomas. Right? Doubting Thomas. Crabby old doubting Thomas. What did doubting Thomas doubt? Or why is he called doubting Thomas? Right? He wanted to put his finger. He didn't believe that Christ was resurrected. He needed to see the evidence, right? He needed to not just see it and hear it, but he needed to what? Feel it. Not just to see it. So in his mind, he probably thought, well, wait a minute. I don't know that these wounds are real. I don't know that what you're saying is true. I need to see all of the evidence, the visual evidence. And I need to touch and feel the evidence. See, multi-sensory search for the evidence. So they call Thomas the doubting Thomas. Now, astrologically, what is Thomas? Where do we get the doubting Thomas from? Because I need a prop. Hold on. Let me get a prop. Hold on. Let's say here is the summer solstice. This is the summer solstice. This is the solstice line. And at the bottom here is the winter solstice. Okay? So opposite of Cancer is Capricorn. Opposite of Cancer is Capricorn. June 21, again, that's doubting Thomas. That's the apostle Thomas. The crab, Cancer. On the winter solstice, which is December 21, 22, the sun is at its lowest position in the southern part of space. The sun is now dead, as it were. Why is it dead? Because from December 21, 22, the sun does not cast a shadow on the sundial. So our ancestors spoke of that phenomena, that natural phenomena, as being the death of the sun. So Thomas doubted that the sun would ever rise again. That's where astrologically we get the term or the phrase doubting Thomas. Because from June 21, 22, which is the summer solstice, the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Take a look here. The sun begins to fall southward. And now the sun, around September 2021, the sun is at the autumn equinox. Y'all see that? It's at the autumn equinox, 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. Everyone see that? At the equator, it happens twice a year. At 23.5 north, which is the Tropic of Cancer, it happens once a year. 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. Now, when the sun crosses below the celestial equator, this is when Christ is crucified. Christ gets crucified. Now, keep in mind that the sun is still falling. It's still going south until finally, at December 21, it reaches its lowest point in the southern part of space. It cannot fall anymore. Okay, and then for 3 days, it neither rises nor falls. It's moving horizontally, if it's moving at all. I don't know. We only know that there's no shadow cast on the sundial. And then on December 25, the sun cast a full 1 degree shadow. At the end of December 24 and the beginning of December 25, which is 12 o'clock midnight, there's a full 1 degree shadow cast on the sundial. Okay, so Thomas doubted whether the sun would ever rise again or whether Jesus was actually resurrected. Hence, doubting Thomas. Now, from December 25, the sun springs northward. The sun springs northward until we get to the vernal or spring equinox. So here is the sun in the position of the spring or vernal equinox. Now we have 12 hours of daylight again, 12 hours of night, twice at the equator, and then once at 23.5 degree north, which is the Tropic of Cancer, and then once also at 23.5 south, which is the Tropic of Capricorn. So those are the solstices, right? Now, when the sun crosses over the equator, that's the Jewish Passover. It is also the Christian resurrection or Easter. Does everyone see that? Now, so the sun is at the vernal or spring equinox on somewhere around March 19, 2021. Okay, depending on the year. The constellation or the zodiac sign that it is in here is Aries the Ram. Aries the Ram. So we're going to get into that. Now, let's go back to the concept discussed on page 84. Okay, here's the concept discussed on page 84. Last paragraph reads, from that point, let's go to the last paragraph of the second paragraph on page 84. It reads, he addressed him in that astronomically accurate problem, quote, all these things I will give you if you fall down and worship me, end quote. Again, the devil says to Jesus, and remember, Jesus is the sun at the summer solstice, and the devil is the sun when it's at the winter solstice. All right, keep that in mind. So the devil, which is the sun at the winter solstice, says to Jesus, which is the sun at the summer solstice, all of these things I will give you if you fall down and worship me. Okay? What does it mean? What does it mean? Let's go to the last paragraph on page 84. And from that point, he astronomically does. He is the sun, sun in the summer solstice position. That's Jesus or the Christ. And from that point, the Christ or Jesus astronomically does and allegorically did. Notice, does is present tense. Astronomically, does. The word does is present tense. Allegorically, that means in the gospel. That's the gospel story. That's allegedly to have happened some 2,000 years ago. All right? So the allegorical story, Jesus did fall. Jesus did fall. Think autumn. Jesus did fall down and worship him. That is, Jesus or the Son comes down from his height of ascension. So here's Jesus. Here's the sun at its height of ascension. That means the summer solstice, right? That's the highest the sun can ever get in the northern part of space. This is Satan, the devil, here. So the sun does fall down, right? The sun starts to travel northward. In other words, southward rather. In other words, the sun stops moving northward and it begins to fall southward. But look at where the devil is. The devil is over here. So now, when the sun that was in the position of the summer solstice, it falls down until what? Until the position of the winter solstice. Now we have who? We have the devil now in the position of the summer solstice. Y'all got it? But look here. So now the roles are reversed. So now Christ is in the winter solstice position. And the devil is in the Christ position. So now Christ tells the devil, get behind me. So now Christ is leading. Y'all see it? The devil is behind Christ. Why? Because Christ is leading. So in other words, whoever is in the position of the winter solstice is leading. So in this case, Christ is in the summer solstice position. The devil is in the winter solstice position. Okay, so modern astrology says that the new year begins in the spring. Our ancient foremothers and forefathers said the new year began in Virgo. Okay, so here we are. Christ, the devil here, the devil leads and opens the new year. With what? With the sun being in the vernal equinox. Okay? Now the devil, keep it in mind, is in the position of the summer solstice. And now Christ is now in the position of the winter solstice. So now, get behind me, Satan. Christ leads the opening of the new year. And now we have Christ, if you guys follow me, opening up the new year in the spring equinox or the vernal equinox. Everybody see that? So when the situation is reversed, it's going to be the devil leading Christ. Fall down. See, Christ fall down. The devil says fall down. Christ is actually falling down and do an act of worship to me. Okay, falling down. Christ falls down all the way until we get into fall season, autumn. I think it should be clear by now, right? Anyway, let's continue. Fall down and worship me. That is, come down from his height of ascension. That is, the sun comes down from the summer solstice in succession after the devil. Okay, so the devil is leading. That's what's meant by in succession after the devil. So as the devil rises, Christ falls. Y'all see it? All right. So come down from the summer solstice in succession after the devil, who, having been the leader, how did he lead? The devil led Christ into opening up the new year, the vernal equinox, the Lamb of God, the Ram, Aries the Ram. Okay? Everybody see it? I hope it's clear. Let me know if this is clear. Put something in the comment section so I can know if I'm communicating effectively or if I need to make some changes in how I am presenting this information. All right, now let's continue. And so, after the devil, who having been the leader, here's the devil leading, and so seemed to go before and drag and pull the Christ up to that point, immediately after becomes the follower. Okay? So the author is talking about this point where the devil is here in the summer solstice. So the devil drags and pulls, pulls the Christ upward. Right, this is the Christ. Pulls the Christ upward until he gets back in the summer solstice position. And again, the devil will lead the Christ. The devil is now in the summer solstice position. All right. And etc. This process goes on year in and year out. Okay, for eternity. All right. There is no beginning and there is no end. That's a religious concept that has been pulled into science. All right. It is not scientific to say that everything has a beginning. That is absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. How can you ever get something from nothing? As I always say. And then, where did the laws that govern how that something came about and how that something interacts with each other and the relationships that exist between whatever that something is? There has to be an intelligence before that. Intelligence is awareness, is consciousness, is thought, okay, etc. So you can never get something from nothing, but you can get something from something. All right? This is common sense, but we've been brainwashed, scholars. We've been brainwashed. So why would that type of brainwashing occur? Because the hybrids are new on the planet. Okay? And to make you feel powerless and to make you feel like they are the gods, they created this paradigm that everything has a beginning. So if you are the first people, like we've been taught in school, let's say life started in Africa from, primates. And then modern man came. And then from modern man came the so-called white or Caucasian European. Everybody see that? That means that the Caucasian, or quote unquote the white European, is the highest level of evolution. Everybody see that? So in other words, they're the God. They're the most advanced. That's why it was done. That's why you've been given white Jesus. Okay, it's a psychic attack. Or it is a psychic attack, a military operation against your brain. All right? And it has absolutely nothing to do with nature whatsoever. So this concept has been forwarded or pushed in religion. Right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth and all of that stuff. Genesis chapter 1. And in school, you learn it in science class. All right? So that is actually a religious doctrine. No basis in science at all. Just like there is no basis of race in science. Okay? So now let's continue. All right. So the devil says to Jesus, fall down and worship me. That is, come down from his height of ascension. The sun comes down from the summer solstice. in succession after the devil. The devil leads the beginning of the year. Why? Because it's the sun, as I said, in the position of the winter solstice. Who, having been the leader, so the devil was the leader, and so seemed to go before and drag and pull Christ up to that point. Y'all remember in the story? Satan the devil takes Christ up to an exceedingly high mountain. So how do you think Christ got to the position of the summer solstice? Well, the devil was in the position of the summer solstice, and he dragged and he pulled Christ up. Everybody see it? To the summer solstice position. Immediately after, so the devil drags and pulls Christ up to that point. That's the point of the summer solstice, or in the gospel story, up to the exceedingly high mountain. Immediately after becomes the follower. So the devil becomes the follower. Listen, y'all, and receives the astronomical rebuke. Get behind me, Satan. Y'all see it? Why? Because the leader is changing position every solstice. You guys get it? So Satan is leading one half of the year, and Christ is leading in the other half of the year. So of course Satan leads when? During the wintry months, when the sun is falling. Christ is being defeated. And Christ leads after December 25th. Okay? When the sun begins to ascend and the days are getting longer. Okay? Because remember, sunlight, illumination, solar, all of these things means that you can see everything. All of these things mean that you can see everything. You are conscious of everything. Okay? If you can see it, there's no mystery. There's no magic. You understand everything. You are aware of everything. You're conscious of everything. But when it's dark, of course, you cannot see everything. Y'all see? Bad things can happen to you in the dark. You can get robbed. Wild animals can attack you because we're not constructed or designed to live outside. Okay, especially at night. The lions see better. Whatever wild animals in your part of the world, I guarantee you, all of the predators see better than you. All of them are physically stronger than you. Okay, so we're not designed to live outside. Okay, so the darkness, evil things can happen to you, or you can do evil things, wicked things. Now, this notion of the devil, again, there's no real devil. So what are we talking about? But before we get into that, let's deal with worship. What's meant by worship? Okay, so we read, immediately after becoming the follower and receives that astronomical rebuke, so Satan is now the follower, Christ is the leader, and Christ says, get behind me, Satan. With that astronomical explanation of it, so here's what it means. Jesus says, for it is written. For it is written. Written where, y'all? Where's it written? How about it's written in the laws of nature? It is written, that is, it is according to the everlasting law of the heavenly bodies. That means it's written in nature. The laws of nature require what? We go from one summer solstice to the equinoctial point, to the other summer solstice, to the next equinoctial point, and back to the summer solstice, and this process repeats itself for eternity. those, or whatever governs that, those, they, it is a law or laws of nature. It is written. Okay, that's what's meant by that. It is written. That is, it is according to the everlasting law of the heavenly bodies. Quote, thou shalt worship. That is, thou, the adverse sign, shalt follow or come after the Lord thy God. That is, or which means, or that is to say, as I have so abundantly explained, thou shalt follow after the constellation of the Ram. So the sun shall follow after the constellation of the Ram. What is this telling us? The Ram, according to modern astrology, is the first of the zodiac signs. Now, you should take note that the Mazzaroth is a circle. It's a circle. So how do you get the first? How do you determine what the first is? It's a circle. Right? How do you know which is the first and which is the last? This is the Mazzaroth, the Zoad. Okay? Well, modern astrology says that the beginning of the year is the Ram. So, according to nature, the first zodiac sign is the Ram. But keep in mind, the Ram, or Aries the Ram, that's the covenant of work. That's the covenant of labor. That's the covenant of maritime admiralty law. The covenant of bondage, of debt. The covenant of work. Y'all see that? It's no coincidence that Christianity, that the Christians would start their natural year off with the opposite of what our ancient ancestors started their year off with, which was Virgo. So you look at the Sphinx, for example. Virgo is in the front next to the pyramids, which are aligned with Orion's belt. The face of the pyramid is said to be a woman who is Virgo, the zodiac sign Virgo. And the body of the pyramid is a lion, or that is Leo the lion. So Virgo is the first constellation for the beginning of the year for our ancient ancestors. Virgo was the first constellation, and the last constellation was Leo the lion. But modern astrology changed that. Now Virgo has a sheath of wheat or corn. Let's say corn. Excuse me. Of corn in her hand. Okay, representing the harvest. Representing the harvest. And at that time, Virgo and Libra were one zodiac. They were later separated. All right? So, the beginning of the year is the covenant of grace. The covenant of grace for our ancient ancestors, okay? So, we began our year in the covenant of grace. So in the covenant of grace, that means you're given everything as an inheritance. You are the rightful heir if you are a Moor, according to the lawful definition of Moor. You can get that out of Black's Law Dictionary. Look up the word land, correlated with Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Look up land, and you'll see that Moors, M-O-O-R-S, Moors are land, and land is Moors. And it's a well-established principle in law that land is the substance and subject matter of the law. Moors are the substance and subject matter of the law. Hence we have what? The Republican form of government. Sovereignty, not sovereign citizens, sovereignty. But to have the Republican form of government, the Republican state of mind, the sovereign state of mind, we must what? Operate in our higher selves. We must follow the Most High's instructions, follow the Most High's commandments. Because otherwise, if people are operating in their lower self, operating as a devil, an opposer to natural law or to the Christ. When you're operating in your higher self, you are the Christ. So that person operating in his or her lower self is a devil and an opposer to you, who are the Christ. Y'all see what I'm saying? Everybody get it? So, if you are operating in your higher self, you're following the Most High's instructions, His commandments, you're living in harmony with our principles, our ancient principles that we got from our ancient foremothers and forefathers, preserved for us by a very great man, Noble Drew Ali, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Make your correlation to Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Honor your ancient foremothers and forefathers so that it may go well in the land that I am giving you. That's already a trust and an estate, which you are the rightful heir, the beneficiary. You are the people, the posterity. You are a people. But only if you're operating in your higher self. You're keeping the commandments, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1 through 14. Then you get the superabundance of material wealth and health, and you get to reclaim and enjoy your status as a rightful heir, as a Moor. In North America, as a Moorish American. Who can prove it? Your state of mind, you can speak, not just, throw out documents, but you can speak it, you live it. But if you cannot do that, if you're operating in your lower self, you receive the curses. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. You get the punishments, denationalization. You get shipped off into maritime admiralty, Catholic Christian canon, corporate jurisdiction. You get shipped off to that on the good ship Jesus. Okay? Where you worship gods of wood and stone. Islam and Christianity. And you become a stateless person, dead in the eyes of the law. You have no ability to inherit or give an inheritance. You're a bondman and a bondwoman. You're goyim, cattle, chattel slavery, black codes. Okay? Children and family services. And all the other abuses that anybody wants to abuse you with in these corporate nation states. Is it clear, everybody? Okay, let's continue. Thou shalt worship, that is, thou, the adverse sign, shall follow or come after the Lord thy God. That is, as I have so abundantly explained, thou shalt follow after the constellation of the Ram, the first zodiac sign, which initially was and eternally is the Lord Gad, G-A-D, of Israel. Of course, Israel, that's the starry skies. That's the whole army of Israel, all of the stars. Gad, G-A-D, God, G-O-D, Gud, G-U-D, Gid, G-I-D, and you can throw any other vowel in there for God, okay? And it has the same meanings. Y'all go back and watch the other videos that I've done where I go through that, okay? So, the sun will go from Aries the ram, or Gad, exit and enter each of the other 12 of the other 11 zodiac signs in the Maserat in the Zoad. Okay, that's how it works. Every year that cycle repeats itself. The sun is always traveling after Gad. Okay, because Gad is the first. When the sun leaves Gad or Aries, it's traveling after Gad. Why? Because it's going to enter it again. All right, so let's continue on page 85. Nor will you ever be confused in this science. What science? The science of astrology. And I dare say astrology, astronomy. And I would also say the science of astrotheology. If you will but remember this simple axiom, that as there are three persons in the Godhead, that's the Trinity. Okay, we have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, or the Holy Spirit. The Father is the Tetragrammaton, the Son is JC, the Christ figure, and the Holy Spirit, some people say it's Sophia, some people say not, but that's the Trinity, okay? Three Godhead. Okay, so as there are three persons in the Godhead, so there are three persons in the devil. Okay, as above, so below, right? The summer solstice, Christ is the devil. At the summer solstice, Jesus is the Christ. And at the winter solstice, Jesus or the Son is the devil. As above, so below, hermetically, that's a hermetic law. As above, so below. Also what? The law of polarity. All right? So let's continue. Note this. The first of the Godhead in the devil. There's three persons in one Godhead for the devil. The first is Hydra, the constellation Hydra. Hydra extends over the three signs of Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. Okay? So the first of the Godhead is Hydra. Hydra extends over Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. Hydra is the devil. All right? Is that clear? Hydra is the devil, the first Godhead that extends over Leo, Virgo, and Cancer. The second devil, the second of the Godhead, rather, is the dragon that persecutes the virgin. I believe that's in Revelation. The dragon that persecutes the virgin, or Virgo, is the devil. That's the second. The dragon is the second Godhead that makes up the devil. And the third Godhead is the whale that persecutes the lamb. The whale that persecutes the lamb, that is also the devil. So the three Godheads that make up the devil is Hydra, the dragon, and the whale. All right? Yet, talking about the devil Godhead, yet are they not three devils, but one devil? The moral character of Satan. Did y'all hear that? Satan is not a real person. It's the moral character. The evil, the wickedness, the liar. That's Satan. There's no spiritual being called Satan. The Godhead, the devil, the dragon, Hydra, the whale, Satan the devil is nothing more than a moral character, a way of thinking and being. Liars, hateful, scammers, treacherous people. Y'all see it? So again, let me go through. Sorry, y'all. I just ate and all right. So again, the devil, Satan, is nothing but a moral character. And we already know that, right? Don't we know that already? Because when we deal with the law of polarity, the Hermetic law of polarity, we have opposite ends of the same line. It's the same line, so it's what? The same nature, the same thing. But the extreme opposites. So for example, at this end here, let's say this is hot. The extreme end of hot, boiling. At this extreme, it's what? Freezing. Freezing cold. But where does the heat or the hot end and the cold begin? The difference between the two is only by what? Degree. Only by degree. So if you have good and evil, where does good end and evil begin? Okay, I lost the connection. I don't know if y'all heard anything. But the difference between good and evil varies only by what? Degree. Varies only by degree. Everybody see that? So Satan, the devil, the difference between Christ and the devil is what? Your thinking and your behavior. Higher self, lower self. What's the difference? Your behavior. Your thinking and your behavior will make you a Christ or a devil, right? But what if you're in the middle? You're neither Christ nor Satan. You are what? Lukewarm, and you get spit out, right? You get spit out because you're lukewarm. You're neither hot nor cold. You're neither Christ nor the devil. Everybody see that? You cannot be in between. You cannot love two masters. You cannot love two masters. You'll love one and hate the other. All right? So anyway, let's continue. All right. Yet, are they not three devils, but one devil? Okay, so Hydra, the whale, and the dragon, they're not three, they're one. They're one devil. Three Godhead and one devil. All right? And the devil is the moral character of Satan. This is the moral character of the lower self. Being nothing more than a picture of the physical phenomena of these three constellations. Y'all got that? Being nothing more than a picture of the physical phenomena of these three constellations, which are what? Cancer, Virgo, what's the other one? Cancer, Virgo, and Leo. Cancer, Virgo, and Leo. Next paragraph, page 85. And the creed of Saint Anthonius, or the Athanasian, or immoral creed, through all the conundrums and apparent contradictions of its theological system, is a most beautiful and scientific exhibition of the grand paradoxes of the Zodiac. Thus, capital God, thus God, thus Zeus, thus Odin, thus Woden, etc., becomes man. When the sun, when the sun, sun of the vernal equinox, when the sun is in the position of the vernal equinox, God becomes man. When the sun is in the position of the vernal equinox, so this is spring equinox. Again, scholars, this is the fall equinox, okay? Give me 1 second, okay, so thus God becomes man when the sun is in the vernal equinox, the Lamb of March, right here, okay, becomes the sun in the autumn equinox. So here's the sun in the autumn equinox. Everybody see that? Thus, God becomes man when the sun of the vernal equinox in the Lamb of March becomes the sun of the autumn equinox about the 29th of September. All right, this is when God becomes man. Everybody got that? God becomes man when the sun in the spring equinox goes to the position of the sun in the autumn equinox. 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night, 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. So this is how it will work. So the sun is in the spring equinox, and it keeps on springing northward. It keeps on ascending northward until the sun gets in the summer solstice position on June 21, June 22. Now the sun will fall, right? The devil says, well, the devil is leading, what the devil says to Jesus, fall down and do an act of worship to me. So the devil is falling, and here we are now with the sun in the position of the autumn equinox. So God, the sun, and Aries, the ram, God becomes man when the sun is in the fall equinox, all right? Which in modern times would be, according to modern astrology, this is Libra. September 29 is Libra, okay? All right, but according to our ancient ancestors, that would be what? Virgo. Still in Virgo. All right, now let's continue. Where are we? Okay. So the sun on September 29, it is in the zodiac sign Libra. September 29 is the Archangel Michael. And Christians, without knowing the physical meaning of their belief, by physical he means the astronomical, astrological meaning. Okay? And Christians, without knowing the physical meaning of their belief, have universally believed that Saint Michael, the Archangel, whose name they translate as satisfying, equal with God, y'all see that, right? Was none other than God himself. How is that? Because when the sun is in the vernal or spring equinox, God, the solar deity, Jesus, becomes a man, or God becomes a man, the Tetragrammaton becomes a man, takes on the name Jesus, on September 29, which is the day called Michael the Archangel, or Archangel Michael. Now y'all Christians, y'all never knew that. So y'all been practicing astrology without knowing. So how can you ever speak negatively about something you've been doing fervently? Some of y'all even thought Michael the Archangel was coming to rescue you. Anyway, let's continue. All right. So Michaelmas Day being exactly of the same length as Lady Day. Isn't that interesting? Look up, y'all. Now, you know, Lady Day is the day Mary allegedly conceived Jesus the Christ. All right, so September 29th, Michaelmas Day. March 29th, what is it? No, is it March 25th? Hold on, y'all. It's Lady Day, where Mary or Virgo conceives the Christ. Let me get the exact day. I think it's September 29th. Let me check it. Isn't this interesting, y'all? Give me 1 second. Oh, man. This music is about to put me to sleep in here, y'all. I'm listening to classical music. I don't know why they would play classical music in a cafe. The customers are going to go to sleep and leave. All right. Does anyone remember Lady Day? So we'll take the author's word. No, let me see. I know I'm close. I go through this stuff, y'all. Usually I remember the pages, but sometimes it takes me a minute. Hold on. But the thing is that I shall find it. Oh boy. 1 second. Maybe I'm in the wrong chapter. Hold on. John the Baptist. Okay. Let me see. I'm close. No, that's John the Baptist getting his head cut off. Let me see. No. I'm close. If I don't find it, you have to find it for yourself. Isn't it interesting? Sometimes, you know, you can do things and everything's boom, 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 like clockwork. And then other days, it's not. Well, I do not see it. Okay, it's the part of the book where we talk about... Oh, let's see. Maybe I'm in the wrong. Maybe it's here. Hold on. Here we go. Page 43. In the beginning, Gad, that is the ram, created the heavens and the earth. We're on page 43. This creation takes place every year on the 25th of March, called Lady Day, or the day of the conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who exactly 9 months afterward, on the first moment of the 25th of December, brings forth her firstborn Jesus and lays him in a manger. Now, let's go back to our chapter. What page were we on? Page, is that Lady Day? Yeah, Lady Day. Okay, page 85. We read here, it reads here, so the Lamb of March becomes the sun, the S-U-N, sun of the autumn equinox, about the 29th of September, which is the day of Michael the Archangel. And Christians, without knowing the physical meaning of their belief, have universally believed that Saint Michael the Archangel, whose name they translate as satisfying, equal to God, was none other than God himself. Michaelmas Day being exactly the same length as Lady Day. Michaelmas Day is the same length. What is he talking about? The number of hours, the number of daylight hours are the same on Lady Day and on Michaelmas Day. See, there are 24 hours in a day. The only difference is how many of those hours are daylight hours and how many of those hours are nighttime hours. In other words, the number of hours, the number of daylight hours versus the number of dark hours. Clear? So the number of hours on Michaelmas Day, which is September 29th, are the same number of hours that are on Lady Day, which is March 25. Is it March 25? Yeah, March 25. So I remembered it correctly. Okay? So we're dealing with the number of daylight hours. That's what he's talking about. Most literally, so let's continue. And the sun of September 29, the sun of the 29th of September, most literally is the same sun, that's the S-U-N sun, as the S-U-N sun of the tribe of Gad in the 25th of March. So I just said that. And God and man in one Christ. All right. So let me read through that without stopping. And Christians, without knowing the physical meaning of their belief, have universally believed that Saint Michael, the Archangel, whose name they translate as satisfying, equal with God, was none other than God himself. Michaelmas Day being exactly the same length as Lady Day and the S-U-N sun of the 29th of September in the 25th of March as God and man in one Christ. In the ancient Persic projection of the sphere, talking about the celestial sphere, it's like a globe with all of the 48 constellations and planets on it, okay? Okay, so that's what he means by the celestial globe. All right? The genius of the autumn equinox. So here is the autumn equinox. Hold on. So this is the spring, the autumn equinox and the spring equinox. So the genius of the autumn equinox was represented as a fierce warrior, notice y'all, The genius of the autumn equinox was represented as a fierce warrior holding a pair of scales in his hand, or in his hands rather, in signification of his astrological character or astronomical character, as that just one. The character, again, that just one, justice, right? Which is one of the titles of him, and then him is capital H-I-M, that was crucified. Okay? So Jesus, one of Jesus's titles, is the just one. He gets crucified in the autumn, at the autumn equinox, when the sun passes below the celestial equator. All right? Christ is crucified. Everybody see that? All right. So let's continue. And the archangel Michael is represented as warring with Satan on the altarpiece at Trinity College, Cambridge, precisely as the head of the serpent appears to be pulled down by the genius of the scales of September in the starry heavens. Okay, so listen up. So remember, Hydra is above Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. Hydra is also the dragon, the whale. So the head of Hydra, which is the dragon or the whale, depending on the story, gets dragged or drugged below. Let me read it again. It gets pulled down by the genius of the scales of September. So we're talking about Michael the archangel is represented as warring with Satan. Who's Satan? Satan is both Hydra. Well, Satan is three godheads: Hydra, the whale, and the dragon. Okay? So Satan gets pulled down on the altarpiece of Trinity College. So there's a piece of furniture. It's the altarpiece. Okay? The altarpiece at Trinity College in Cambridge. This was written in 1830. I don't know if it's still there. So when does Satan get pulled down? It reads here, precisely as the head of the serpent appears to be pulled down by the genius of the scales of September. Okay, so the movement is, as the sun is moving through the scales of September, Hydra's head gets pulled down. I wish I had a picture of that. And by the way, I've searched for these images. They're very hard to find. I very rarely find these images. So either I would have to create them myself. I don't know where I get the time to do it. Or I have to pay somebody to create these images for me. Okay? Or if there's some old books, if anybody has any old books, if you can send me some pictures. Of course, I can do a search to see if the books are available to be purchased. I don't know what the price of these books would be, but I'm sure it's not going to be cheap. I would be shocked if these books are cheap, to be able to visually see the configuration, all of these configurations. But it would help tremendously for everybody to understand, right? Hold on one second. Or if someone can get a picture of this altarpiece. If someone can get a picture of the altarpiece of Trinity College in Cambridge, we'll be able to see it, because that's where the image comes from. Okay, y'all? All right. So what are we going to see? We're going to see Michael the archangel is represented as warring with Satan on the altarpiece of Trinity College. So we got to get a picture of that altarpiece at Cambridge. The altarpiece at Trinity College at Cambridge in 1830. That's what we need. Okay, so we'll see Michael the Archangel warring precisely as the head of the serpent, that's the head of the dragon, appears to be pulled down by the scales of September. So the scales of September, these would be what? The scales that we see in Libra. All right? So that's what we'll see. I hope someone can get that. If y'all want to see the images, my PayPal is paypal.me/Zion Law School. If you send in some fiat, I can hire someone, an artist here, to create these images, if y'all want to see them. Okay? Let's continue. And Gad, G-A-D, becomes Michael. Now remember, the Christians hold Michael the Archangel as being equal with God. Okay? Astronomically, we know that the sun in the vernal or spring equinox, it's the same sun that's in the summer solstice, and it's the same sun that's in the autumn equinox. So they're equal, right? And it's also the same sun that's in the winter solstice. Okay? So Gad again, when the sun is in the vernal equinox, this is Gad. Why? It's the first zodiac sign. So Gad, God, right? And God becomes a man. Why? Jesus gets crucified. Right, y'all? Jesus gets crucified. The sun crosses below the celestial equator. That's called what? The crucifixion of the Christ. All right. And God becomes Michael, that is, and Gad, rather, G-A-D, becomes Michael, that is, God, G-O-D, becomes man, not by conversion of the Godhead into flesh. Nope. The Tetragrammaton didn't become a fleshly man called Jesus. God becomes man not by conversion of the Godhead into flesh, but by taking the manhood into God. Now, exactly what that means, I'm not sure. I wish the author would have developed that more. Next paragraph. That is, with most astronomical correctness, the sign does not enter into the sun. Y'all got that? The sign. So let's say Virgo. Virgo doesn't enter into the sun. The sun enters into the constellation called Virgo. But the sun enters into the sign. And I'm still trying to figure out what these symbols mean in relation to this paragraph. So if anybody knows, please let me know what this means. You see the circle with the dot, and then the two vertical lines, and then we see the circle with what appears to be y'all see the circle with the cross inside of it? That would be the celestial heavens. That circle would be the edges of the heavens. The vertical line would be the solstices. And then the horizontal line would be the celestial equator. Okay? Now these two horizontal lines, I'm not sure what they mean. It could be Yakchan and Jochan. Yakchan and Jochan, I think that's what it is. But I don't understand what it means. Okay? The two pillars, Y'all see it, the two vertical lines? That could be the covenant of grace and the covenant of labor. But I don't know, so I'm not going to guess. I need to figure that out. All right, next paragraph. Again, Christ, that is the S-U-N Son, is most literally the mediator or go-between between Gad, G-A-D, and man. Christ, the S-U-N Son, is most literally the mediator or go-between between Gad, G-A-D, and man. Because the fixed stars which compose or make up the tribe of Gad, G-A-D, that would be the constellation called Aries, right? Aries the ram. Because the fixed stars that make up Aries the ram, which is the tribe of Gad, and all the other tribes of the celestial Israel are sons, are S-U-N sons, to the system, rather to systems of their own. All right? So sons, maybe they have planets and whatever they may have, but they are the sons for whatever system that they are involved in. Celestial Israel, that's all of the stars, okay? And all of the other tribes of celestial Israel are sons, S-U-N-S, to systems of their own. For example, like the Milky Way system, right? And our Earth's annual motion round the sun throws the sun, or makes the sun seem to go between us and those measurelessly remote big stars. So in other words, measurelessly means very far away. So it looks like our sun is between us and all of the other stars. In that way, our sun is in fact the mediator, or the go-between, or is between us on planet Earth, the sun, and then all the stars in celestial Israel. Okay, so if it were a hamburger or a sandwich, Earth would be the bun at the bottom, the sun would be your hamburger, and then celestial Israel would be all the stars on top. All right, so what's in the middle? Our sun. Therefore our sun is the go-between, is the mediator, is Gad, is God, is Gid, is Jesus, is the Christ, is Zeus, is Odin, Woden, right? Is God. All of this, okay? Is Sirius. Can y'all think of, is the magistrate, the magi, the magicians, all of these, okay? Let me check the time. Well, I hope everybody's learning something from what we're dealing with. Yeah, that's my sincere hope. Okay? Key takeaway for me that I would like for you all to keep in mind: celestial Israel, or Israel, that's the starry heavens. Gad is Aries. Aries is Gad. Gad is the first tribe of Israel. There are 12 tribes. There are 12 zodiac signs. There are 48, according to our ancient ancestors, constellations. All of that is the army of the heavens. That is Israel, or celestial Israel. Y'all got it? That's the Jerusalem above. If you can do what? If you can identify the constellations, the zodiac. All right? If you cannot, you are walking in the wilderness. All right? You are in the wilderness. You are illiterate about astronomy and astrology. And of course that can change. All right, let's continue. As only walk around the table with your eyes steadily directed to any fixed object on the table. You will see that the object with relation to distant parts of the room, exactly opposite them, changing its point of opposition as you change your situation. So all that's saying is that if you look at something in a room, look directly at it. Don't look at what's behind it. As you move, your perspective changes. That's all it's saying. So it's just the sun. If you imagine, like I said, a hamburger and the sun is the meat, the earth is the bottom bun, the top bun would be the starry heavens when you look up. Okay, that's all it's saying. Same concept. Okay? And thus, while you alone are moving, the object on which your eye is fixed will seem to be moving. And thus will be a mediator or intercessor at all times between you and the more distant fixed objects, by which alone you can measure the change which is going on, not in their positions, but in yours. All right? That's all it means. Okay? You're always going to see the sun. All right? If you look up, you're going to see the sun. If you look in the direction of the sun, whatever you see behind the sun is what you're going to see. Okay? You're moving. Next paragraph. And now look, sirs, upon the starry heavens, or, for greater convenience, on this most accurate picture of them upon this beautiful toy, the celestial globe. So he's saying, look at the celestial globe and tell me what you see. The great liar, that's the devil and Satan, right? That's Hydro, that's the whale, that's the dragon. So the great liar, where's the great liar? It's in the north. Hydra is in the north, above Cancer, above Leo, and above Virgo. Hydra, the dragon, and the whale are above Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. All right? So look at your celestial globe. The great liar, from the beginning, that is, not the moral, but the physical liar. The physical liar, not the moral liar. The constellation Catius. So I was wrong on that. It's not the devil. It's not It's not Hydra, the whale, or the dragon. It is the constellation Catus. C-A-T-U-S. Let me show it. The largest of all heaven, just at the beginning, at the point of the vernal equinox, slips out of the zodiac. Cetus. If I remember correctly, Cetus is Hydrus. Here. Take a look. If I remember correctly, y'all, Cetus is Hydrus. Or Hydra, rather. But anyway, let me check. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the celestial globe. The great liar, from the beginning, that is, not the moral liar, but the physical liar, the constellation Cetus, the largest constellation of all the constellations in the heavens. Just as the beginning, just at the beginning, at the point of the vernal equinox, the point of the vernal equinox, that's Aries, right? Aries the ram. So just at the beginning of the zodiac, at the point of the vernal equinox, that's Aries the ram, slips out of the zodiac. Okay. So Cetus slips out of the zodiac. We really need to see it in an image, right? Let's continue. he abode not in the truth. And that is, and is as his eternal punishment for slipping out of the zodiac. The truth is the zodiac. So he slips out of the zodiac. So he abode not in the truth, and is as his eternal punishment condemned to follow the Lamb, wheresoever the Lamb goeth. And here you see most literally, quote unquote, he walketh about seeking whom he may devour, end quote. Whom, says the cloven tongue and double meaning apostles, resist, right? Resist the devil, steadfast in faith. That is, quote unquote, do you stand fast in the zodiac? Y'all. Do you stand fast in the zodiac? Y'all remember the verse? I don't remember if it's in Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah. Maybe, I don't remember the exact chapter, so I won't say. But Isaiah says, return to the old paths. Well, that old path, that's a Maserat, that's a Zoad. But the people, our ancestors said, no, we won't do it. Okay? So again, quote unquote, do you stand fast in the zodiac, out of which my master made a slip from the very beginning, and the devil a bit will my master be able to catch you. Quote unquote, resist the devil and he will flee from you. That is, turn your backs upon him and you'll find he's going the other way. We need to see a picture. Okay, so since this is the devil, Cetus has to be Hydra, has to be the whale, and has to be the dragon. Okay, Cetus, I'm pretty sure I did a presentation. I don't know if I posted it on YouTube. It's probably on YouTube, but I did a presentation showing all of these constellations. So y'all check it, or just Google search Cetus, but it's going to be hard to find Cetus in relationship to, at least it was for me, in relation to all of the zodiacs that we're dealing with right now. Okay? Do you mind if I have another glass of ice water? Ice water. Okay. Okay, thanks. All right. So let's continue. His infernal majesty never thinks a soul worth dodging after. He always keeps straight forward in his course and, quote unquote, hath no variabilities, no variableness, nor shadow of turning. So the sun is always consistent, whether it's in the position of Christ or the devil, right? But look now at the allegorical joys and sorrows, desires and fears of the astronomical David of the Old Testament, and the no less astronomical son of David of the New Testament. Says he in the 22nd incantation, quote, fat bulls of Bashan close me in on every side, end quote. Why? There are in... You want it? Thank you. Thank you. I asked for a glass of ice water. He brought me back a glass of ice. All right, let me get back to my spot. Okay, says he in the 22nd incantation, quote unquote, fat bulls of Bashan. So when you hear bulls, you should think what, scholars? Taurus, zodiac sign Taurus. So fat bulls of Bashan close me in on every side, end quote. Why? There they are, in the Taurus of April, in which every year the S-U-N sun is literally enclosed. Y'all got that? Why? Because the sun enters into the house of Taurus. So it's literally enclosed, okay? Fat bulls of Bashan enclose me on both sides. The sun is fully in Taurus in April, okay? Says he in the spell of Matthew, quote, suffer the little children to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven, end quote. Why? There they are in Gemini, the little children, the twins, right? Or twins of May, where you shall see them, lords of the ascendant, every year. The ascendant, or the sun springing northward, the sun ascending northward. Okay? At the point of time when, quote unquote, from opening fields of another wide displayed, child of the sun, S-U-N, refulgent summer comes. All right? So, okay, easy enough. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and of course, the summer solstice is Cancer. Or cries he again in the 22nd Psalm, quote, O save me from the lion's mouth. So when you hear lions, you should think Leo the lion. Thou that hath heard me, also from among the horns of the unicorns. Why? There never were such animals as unicorns on earth, except in the little baby song and the big baby babble. The big baby babbles would be what? The adults believing fairy tales. Quote unquote, the lion and the unicorn are fighting for the crown. The lion beat the unicorn and drove round the town. But here, sirs, is the very astronomical crisis to the accuracy of the setting of a watch. Why the accuracy of the setting of a watch? Because the universe, the constellations, all function like what? Clockwork. Very precise, very reliable. Okay? But here, sirs, is the very astronomical crisis to the accuracy of the setting of a watch, of the allegorical adaptation of that incantation. The allegorical adaptation is the remix, the telling of natural phenomena, the way the planets and the stars and the sun move in relation to each other, the remixing of that into a Bible story or a gospel story. Okay, and then teaching people that it really happened in history. So now it becomes an incantation. Why? Because you are charming them. You are enchanting them. You are bewitching them to believe something that never happened is in fact history, real. Okay, that's why he used that language. Where you see the S-U-N sun, by rising up into the arms of those little children, the sun rising up, right, ascending. The sun ascends from the winter solstice. It ascends, it springs northward. It continues ascending through the spring vernal, or the spring equinox, the vernal equinox. It continues to ascend through Taurus up into Gemini. All right? So it springs or ascends into the arms of the little children, that's Gemini, the twins, just contrives to make his escape from the horns of the unicorns, and has now to look out for the next forthcoming danger, and must make a dip to the nicety of a hair's breadth to keep clear of the lion's mouth. That's Leo the lion. And quote unquote, oh, deliver my soul from the sword, my darling, from the power of the dog. Oh, make thy way straight before me, end quote. Let me not be attracted from my course by the power of the dog. In the south, when he rises helically with me in the summer. Okay, so the constellation, the dog, this would be the canine constellations. There are two. Oh, make thy way straight before me. Let me not be attracted from my course by the power of the dog. In the south, okay, so that would be what? The wintry stuff, right? Capricorn, etc., that area, by the winter solstice. Or Aquarius, right? The wintry months. So we're looking somewhere down in the south. When he rises helically rise with me in the summer. So as the sun is rising in the summer, the dogs are where? In the south. This is what I'm understanding. Where am I? Okay. So nor let me be worried by them in the long nights of winter. Okay, so winter is the south part of space, right? From the north, from the northern hemisphere point of view, from, let's say, North America. When, quote unquote, in the evening they will return, grind like a dog, and go about the city. This is in Psalms 59. So we see a lot of astrological or astronomical references in the Psalms. Okay? So what dog constellations are in the south when the sun is in the north? Okay, page 88. Resist the astronomical demonstration, if you possibly can, of that mystical lament of the allegorical Jonah in the whale's belly, which your ignorant clergy, for any sense that they could have ever found of it, are not able to protect from the laughter and scorn of all rational men. Right, because that's ridiculous, right? You can go into the belly of a whale, and then the digestive juice, first of all, you make it through his mouth without, getting crushed. You make it down his throat without getting crushed or drowned, right? You don't get crushed or drowned. All of that pressure, right? Because the whale is in the ocean. So the ocean water is putting pressure on the whale's body, and you're in his mouth, going down whatever his anatomy is to get to his stomach, and then all of the digestive juices in his stomach. You survived that with no special equipment? Come on. It's ridiculous, right? But the religious people will say, well, God did it. God protected him, right? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so Jonah in the belly of the whale, the big fish. Now remember, the whale is the devil, y'all. Hydra, the whale, and the dragon. That's the three godheads of the devil. Okay, so let's continue. For any sense that they could ever find it, are not able to protect from the laughter and scorn of rational men. Yes, ridiculous to believe that people will laugh at you. But which rises into grandeur and astonishing wisdom and truth when read to its astronomical significancy. So as a real story that happened in real life is absolutely ridiculous. Reasonable people will laugh at you. But when you look at this story astrologically, as it describing what happens in terms of the sun and constellations as they move throughout the course of the year, then it becomes something brilliant. All right? Now let's read it. Quote, I went down to the bottom of the mountains. The earth with her bars was about me. Forever then I said, I am cast out of thy sight. Yet will I look again toward thy holy temple. End quote. Which the severer literality of translation gives us the true magnificent language of the Escheat sun. In his state of humiliation, struggling to ascend in the ecliptic, quote, I went down to the bottom of the mountains, end quote, repeatedly called, listen y'all, quote, the depths of Satan, end quote. The earth with her everlasting bands and colors was above me. Then said I, quote, I have sunk below the line of the zodiacal constellations, those eyes of heaven. Yet will I emerge again toward thy holy temple, end quote. That holy temple is, if I remember correctly, Aries or Gad, which is here in the constellation of the Ram. Yep. And just exactly is it 3 days and 3 nights to the accuracy of the setting of your watch. That is, from 12 o'clock at midnight of St. Thomas's Day. Is that St. Thomas's Day? What day is that, y'all? Is it September 29? I forgot. I'll come back to it. Of St. Thomas's Day, that the Jonah, oh no, St. Thomas's Day is June 24th or 25th? September 29th is Michael the Archangel Day. September 29th is Michael the Archangel Day. So St. Thomas Day, I think, is June 24th. I'll check it, okay? So with the accuracy of the setting of a watch, 3 days and 3 nights, from 12 o'clock at midnight of St. Thomas's Day, that the Jonah of the Old Testament is in the whale's mouth, is in the whale's belly, and the Son of Man of the New Testament is in the heart of the earth. Absolutely. So the Son of Man is in the heart of the earth from December 21, 22 up until 12 o'clock midnight at the end of December 24th, which is the beginning of December 25th. So Jonah is in the heart of the big fish on June 21, June 22. So, yeah, let me read it again. And just exactly is it 3 days and 3 nights to the accuracy of the setting of a watch. That is, from 12 o'clock at midnight, St. Thomas's Day, that Jonah of the Old Testament is in the whale's belly. And the Son of Man of the New Testament is in the heart of the earth. That is, the Escheat sun is in the lowest degree of his descent. in the curve of the ecliptic, that being the exact term of the winter solstice. That's December 21, 22. Or of the sun sun, of the sun suns seeming to be at a standstill, right? So from the winter solstice, December 21, all the way up until December 24th, the end of December 24th at 12 midnight, which is the very beginning of December 25th, the sun does not cast a shadow on the sundial. The sun is said to be dead until 12 o'clock December 25th, the very beginning of December 25th, when the sun casts a full 1 degree shadow on the sundial. All right, now the sun is what? Born again. Or some people say that the old man's sun has died and a new son, or the next generation, or his masculine heir, or whatever, the baby son has been born. So the old man's son dies, and 3 days later, a brand new baby or brand new son is born. Okay? But in any event, the sun is back. All right? From which point, gaining his first degree, that's on the very beginning of December 25th, from which point, gaining his first degree on the first moment of the 25th of December at midnight, at the very moment when the star in the east, y'all remember we talked about the star in the east? That's Virgo, I believe it's called the Bindi Matrix, is just visible. This is the celestial horizon, or the celestial equator. Let's just say the celestial horizon, or let's just say the horizon. You look over the horizon and you see the Bindi Matrix, the bright star, which is in the elbow of Virgo. You see it right above the horizon. Okay? Remember, that's the star of the east, the Bindi Matrix. Let's continue. At the very moment when the star in the east, the brilliant of the constellation of the Virgin, that's Virgo, is seen rising on the eastern border of the horizon. The whole pagan world did, through countless ages, rise at midnight to let in Christmas, December 25, and sang that well-known Christmas carol, a virgin. All right, y'all. I don't know. My signal was gone. I don't know if y'all heard what I just went through. I'll go back over the video, and we'll see. If I need to do it again, I'll do it again. Quote unquote. A virgin unspotted, by prophets foretold, brought forth her child Jesus, which now you behold. For to be our Redeemer from death, hell, and sin, which Adam's transgression involved us in. Y'all got that? The whole pagan world sang that song. And now y'all Christians have been singing it, thinking that it's new and just for y'all. Let me repeat it again. This is on page 89. The whole pagan world did through countless ages rise at midnight to let in Christmas and sang that well-known Christmas carol. All right? What else do you need? Christianity is nothing but paganism. And by the way, paganism is simply a derogatory term that the Catholic Church put on anyone who had a different paradigm than they did. So if you were a scientist and an engineer, that's what your people were. You studied nature, you studied the cosmos, they call you star worshipers, and you were involved in pagan religion, pagan worship. That's the way it went down. And then the Catholic Church turned around and copied all those pagan rites and ceremonies, even took the songs and customs, but they call it paganism. And then they remix it for their followers and call it true Christianity. And y'all arguing and debating about what the true doctrine is when it's all pagan. All right, in other words, they got you doing busy work. No matter which doctrine you research and you study and you become convinced is right, it's all what? Has a pagan origin. It all comes from astrology, a remix of astrology. And no, our ancestors didn't worship the moon and the stars and the sun and the water. No. We studied them, we observed them, and we made our lives around them. And we made things using our scientific and engineering knowledge. That's the way it went down. But what I want to focus on here is that when Jesus is in the grave or in the underworld from December 21, 22 until he's resurrected on December 25, Jonah at the summer solstice is in the belly of the big fish from June 21, 22 until June 25, which is St. Michael's, St. Thomas Day. All right, so we have two parallel, what? Summer solstice and winter solstice all over again. Jonah and the big fish, Jesus going to the underworld. All right, there you have it. It is what it is. Okay, and who the devil was Adam? A-D-E-M. Who the devil was Adam? That any transgression of his should get us into such a damnation. Who? I'm sorry. Why? Who? Why? Who? But whom the name itself literally signifies. Add. The first radical is add, A-D. The second radical is am, A-M. So two radicals, which means the Lord, the fire. So Adam means the Lord, the fire. Add, the Lord, am, the fire. Quote unquote. That is the S-U-N Son himself. So Adam is the S-U-N Son, y'all, who has been. End quote. Add, am, two radicals, which mean the Lord, the fire. Quote, unquote, that is the S-U-N Son himself, who has been, end quote, transgressing for the last 3 months most horribly, sinking lower and lower into inequity or unevenness, and giving us such miserable days that if he does not mind his manners and begin and lengthen the days again, it will be all hell. And St. Thomas with us. So what is Adam? Adam is the Lord, the fire. This is June 21st, summer solstice, June 21, 22, summer solstice, right? The sun is at its highest point in the northern sky. It cannot go higher. So it does what? It can only, what? Descend. Okay, so the number of daylight hours are decreasing. This is the unevenness. This is the sin. This is the inequity. That's the sin that Adam committed. It's not a moral sin, y'all. It's not a moral sin. It's the Escheat sun descending, falling southward, falling southerly. Now, when the sun is at the autumn and vernal equinoctial points, there's 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. That's equality, right? But at any other point, there's inequity. Y'all see it? The number of daylight hours are only equal at the equinoctial points. Clear? So that means when the sun is at the summer solstice on June 21 and it begins to fall southerly, the number of daylight hours are decreasing. Evil happens in the dark. Wickedness happens in the dark. Y'all see it? So there's Adam's transgression, okay? Adam's fall, his transgression, okay, his sin. The number of daylight hours are decreasing and the number of nighttime hours are increasing. Therefore, evil and wickedness are increasing. Has nothing to do with the moral sin. It's just the sun, the S-U-N, sun, falling in altitude, going southerly. Y'all see it? That's all it is. This is the inequity. In other words, it can be 13 hours of daylight and 11 hours of night. It can be 15 hours of daylight, right? And 9 hours of night. Okay, all the way until you get to the maximum. I don't know if it's 16, 17 hours of daylight at the summer solstice. Okay, that's still injustice and inequity. But that's on the good side, right? Because the sun is out. You can see everything. But as the sun begins to fall, let's say we're at 13 hours of night and 12 hours of day. This is the autumn equinox. Now we have 12 hours a day, 12 hours of night. The sun continues to fall. Now what's the inequity? Now we have, let's say, 13 or 14 hours of night and only 10 or 11 hours of day. And let's say in November, it gets even less. Maybe we have, for example, maybe we have 15 or 16 hours of night, right? And only 8 hours of day. Y'all see, darkness is increasing. Okay? So that's the unevenness or the inequity. And then, of course, September 29, Michaelmas Day, September 29, that's the opening of the gates of hell. And of course, at the winter solstice here, let's say this is the winter solstice. This is what? The dark, bottomless pit. Right? There's no bottom to space. So that's hell. It's so cold that it's hot. It's so cold that it's burning hot. Y'all got it? All right. And of course, the reference to St. Thomas is why? Because on December 21, 22, I believe that's St. Thomas Day, St. Thomas believes, he's so discouraged by what he's seen. He sees the Christ being humiliated. He sees the number of daylight hours continuously decreasing and the number of nighttime hours continuously increasing until finally at the winter solstice, December 21, which is the day of the year that has the longest or the maximum number of nighttime hours, the Apostle Thomas believes that the sun will never come back up. He believes the sun is dead. Why? Because it's not casting a shadow. Every day of the year, up until December 21, 22. The sun cast a 1-degree shadow on the sundial. But now, for 3 days, it doesn't. So Thomas, the Apostle Thomas says, well, Christ is dead. He ain't coming back. So he doubted whether Christ was resurrected. Y'all see it? Okay, let's continue. Hence the apostles' riddle about the first and second Adam, both meaning one and the self-same personification of the S-U-N Son. The first, or falling Adam, we just discussed the falling Adam, being the S-U-N Son descending in the ecliptic. I just explained that. And shortening the days. And the second Adam, or the rising Adam, see, the rising Lord the fire, the rising S-U-N Son. In the Bible, they'll tell you that Jesus was the second Adam, right? If you believe the historical story. But the second Adam, or the rising Adam, being the S-U-N Son, ascending again. So the S-U-N Son begins to ascend where? On December 21. Remember, December 25 rather. The end of December 24th at 12 midnight, which is the beginning of December 25, the sun cast a full 1-degree shadow on the sundial. So now this is the second Adam. The second Adam is what? Springing northward. The second Adam is springing northward. Now, the number of daylight hours are increasing. Okay? All the way until what? The vernal or spring equinox, where we get equality, equity. 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. But as the sun continues to spring northward, as the sun continues to ascend, we get greater numbers of daylight hours. So for example, we'll have 14 hours of day and only 8 hours of night. We'll have 16 hours of day and only what's 24 minus 8 hours of night. Okay? And then at the summer solstice, maybe we have 16, 17 hours. I don't know the exact number, but y'all get it. The number of daylight hours are increasing. Okay, that's the second Adam. Okay, then let's continue. So the second Adam, or rising Adam, being the sun, S-U-N, ascending again, lengthening of the days, and cheering our desponding hearts, because most people don't like winter, right? When winter is leaving, we start to feel happy and good, with the promise of another annual salvation. So the second Adam gives salvation, right? Christ is resurrected. I gotta run, y'all. I'm late. Islam to all the Moors and Shalom.